Hello. Hi. I cannot believe that I'm here right now. Like in this moment, this is insane. We're here. We are starting the journey. I've wanted to vlog this reread for months, for years actually. And I'm finally doing it. So this is prime Jenna content, honestly. This is one of my favorite series. I'm rereading it, so I'm doing reading vlogs for every single book in the series because there's a new book coming out next week. A week from right now, we will have new content for the boat season. I don't think you understand how crazy this is. I have already started rereading the Bone season. Guys, I've been putting off starting the Bone season because I've had like 50 other books to get through. The Dark Mirror comes out a week from tomorrow and I have not started my reread. And on top of that, The Golden Raven comes out on Saturday, so I will be spending all of my weekend thinking about for the game. I was sitting here, barbecue sauce on my titties, getting ready to go to work, and I was like, okay, like nothing's stopping you. You gotta start reading it. And so I opened the ebook. And it just like all hit me that like we're getting another Bone season book. I get to see Paige and Warden. I can be normal. I'm a normal person. I can be a normal human being about this. Me when I lie. This is like I'm not starting the reading vlog, but like I'm kind of starting the reading vlog, but I'm not, because I'm not starting reading at this moment, but like this is the thing. I'm gonna reread all of the Bone season, all 4 books, in preparation for The Dark Mirror, which comes out next week. Did I mention it comes out in a week? It's been 4 years. I think I've been terrorized enough. I should know what happens after the end of The Mask Falling. Sorry, I was just thinking about the end of The Mask Falling. If you're new here, hi, hello, what's up? My name is Jenna. I talk about books on the internet. So if you haven't heard, if you don't know what I'm talking about, maybe you've seen the Bone season around. This is the new cover. We'll get to that in a minute, but the Bone season originally was published in 2013. It was technically labeled dystopian. I don't think that's necessarily true. It does feature an oppressive regime, and it does feature some romance. So it does count as dystopian. It's not your usual dystopian. It's cool dystopian. But the thing that makes this dystopian different than the other dystopians of its time is that it's going to be 7 books long. And so we are about to get book 5, which means we are in the second half of this crazy series. And so because we're in the second half, that means things are heating up. Things are getting insane. We are seeing plot threads come together. Questions are being answered, I hope. Before we, do anything else, what is the Bone season about? I said it's dystopian. It's about this girl named Paige, and Paige is clairvoyant. So in this world, it's kind of like an alternate history. In the 1800s, these unnatural types of humans sprouted up. They're called clairvoyants. They can do all kinds of weird shit. They can, dream walk and see visions and do like soothsaying and tarot cards and whatever. So it's kind of complicated. I'm not gonna lie. I'm rereading it and I don't actually know what any of it means. We roll with it. There's these unnatural humans who have these special powers, and naturally they are they're hunted down for that. The government does not like them, so they all have to go into hiding. They're living like underground, doing their own little magic-y thing. And when we start the book, Paige is one of those. She is a dream walker, so she can walk through dreams. I don't know if that was clear. Eventually, she does get captured by the government. And from there, chaos, drama. And that's not even the half of it. That's literally not even the half of it. That's just the beginning of book 1. Why does it have a new cover? You may be wondering. Maybe you remember the old cover. I'm not going to get it out. It's on my bookshelf, but it's bluer than this. It got new covers within the last 2 years because Samantha Shannon is insane, and she ended up revising the first 4 books. Not a lot. I think book 1 is the one that has the most revision, and a lot of it is just like writing style stuff because she originally published this when she was in college. And so it has changed a little bit. I think she has added a little bit of of like foreshadowing, and some plot details have changed a little bit. This is my first time reading the revised version. But yeah, there's 4 books that are out, and the 5th one will be out on Tuesday. And if you didn't see me have a complete breakdown about book 4 when it came out,
are you fucking kidding me, Samantha? I'm gonna kill you.
Count yourself lucky, because that shit is traumatizing. So I can't really recommend it, except that's exactly what I'm doing. I will probably be reading a lot of them at work and on my lunch break and stuff, so it'll probably be like this, where I'm just like, reflecting in hindsight, but I have many thoughts. I already have many thoughts. I'm about a quarter of the way through book 1. There's gonna be spoilers. I have read it before. I have lots of insight. I have questions. I have things I want to touch on that I already know. So if you haven't read the Bone season, don't watch these. I'm so sorry. I apologize in advance. You will thank me later. But if you've already read the Bone season, all 3 of you plus me, buckle up. We're gonna have some fun, you guys. I did start reading chapter 1 of the Bone season, which I have read before, but I haven't read the revised version, and I also don't remember the original, so I have no idea what's actually new content and what's not. Point is, there's a line where they're talking about Paige and her name, obviously the Pale Dreamer, but like the line ends with her being notorious for being the only known dreamwalker, and I just had to like sit with that and sit back and scream, because we figure out that there is another dreamwalker in the Mask Falling, and it like I'm gonna have such a rough go of this reread, because the whole time I'm gonna be like, we don't know the answer to that, but we could know the answer to that in the next book, because we don't have, I can't remember what his name is, like Cade. Is his name Cade? I don't remember who the guy's name is. He's a fucker, and I hate him. What if we learn more? What if we learn more in the next book? Anyway, I'm having more flashbacks to the Mask Falling, and that scene, that fucking chapter, and just, all the pain that I experienced 4 years ago. It's all gonna have to happen again, and
oh my God.
Thought I was prepared, but I'm not actually prepared. So I have to go to work right now, but I am thinking about so many things. I didn't forget that I'm supposed to be vlogging, but I kind of have forgotten. Good morning. It's Tuesday now. I did read a little bit yesterday. I am feeling chaotic this month because I have so much on my TBR at the moment. And so this is a vlog for the Bone season. I am rereading the Bone season. However, yesterday I did start 3 separate books. So I'm in the middle of 4 books at the moment. I was reading volume 6 of Heaven Official's Blessing. And then I got to the White Clothed Calamity arc and I said, no. Yesterday I started the Bone season and I read about 10% of that. I also started an audiobook, which is a Shayla Lawson memoir, and it's really, really good so far. And then I also started my February book in translation. So I started a book called Forest of a Thousand Daemons, and it's written by a Yoruba man, originally published in the 1930s. So we are branching out. We're trying something completely new. It's folklore-y. So it's fantasy, but it's folklore. I am already learning a lot about Yoruba culture and language. And apparently Yoruba has a lot of tonal vowels. And so I spent most of my lunch break yesterday reading up on Yoruba language, which was kind of fun. That's where we're at. But I'm really here to update you about the Bone season. We got to the part where she is in Oxford now, and she has learned about the existence of the Rephites. I can't remember how you pronounce it, but I'm going to say Rephites for this point forward. She got to meet Nishira, which was fucking insane. And the first time she gets to meet Warden, and he's looking at her and she's looking at him and she thinks he's beautiful and terrible, and then he lays claim to her, and I can't do this. I just keep thinking about the future. Anyway, that's kind of where I left off yesterday. She is kind of out exploring Oxford. I just know I'm in danger. The reread has been really interesting so far because this is my first time reading the revised edition, and I can't really figure out if I can tell where it's been revised or not, which is proof of either a great revision or like good original text. I don't know. There are a couple moments where I've been like, was this there the whole time? It's going well. I am spending a lot of time like deeply looking into the text to be like, where's the foreshadowing? What is going to happen in the Dark Mirror? And also like, what did you add? What's going to change, you know? And it's been really terrifying. Jackson Hall specifically has been, I hate him, but I can't remember his full story. Like, it's coming back to me in like little pieces here and there. And I'm like, I know we can't trust him. I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, he sold Paige out to get her to Oxford. And I know he at one point was at the colony, like in Oxford when he was young, and he betrayed Warden. And that's all I got. So anyway, I have noticed there have been way too many references to waterboarding, which, you know, that's relevant. That's very relevant. I just didn't realize how early it started. It's like within, I mean, I'm 10% in and I think I've had at least 3 or 4 mentions of waterboarding. And most of them are like offhand where Paige is like, blah, blah, blah. Like they torture clairvoyants. And sometimes I hear like they waterboard people, whatever. I've had multiple instances where Paige herself is like, I don't want to get waterboarded. I would not hold up well under torture. I don't want to get waterboarded. What if they waterboard me? And every single time it comes up, I'm like, my poor sweet baby Paige, you got a big storm coming, which means I have a big storm coming. I am not prepared to relive all of that. So I just think we should end waterboarding in fantasy. We don't need that shit anymore. I love this season of a series where like you are waiting for a new release and you're trying to frantically reread, and it's been a while so you don't remember everything, but like you have to like play the game and work through the puzzles. And when you get the new release, you will have more questions than answers, but also you will get some answers. And we're getting to the fun part in the series where things are starting to come together. And Paige and Warden know that they love each other, even though, you know, some people may not remember that fact. I have to go to work, but I will keep you updated whenever I can. We are now about 30% of the way through, and so where did I leave off? I think she just finished her first big training session with Warden, and so she is weak and she's trying to figure out how to survive, essentially. And like preliminary early thoughts that I've had thus far. Mostly I've been screaming about Warden. I love him so much. I love him so much. I think the thing that's so great about rereading the Bone season is that on the first read, you're like, wow, this guy is mean. He is closed off. He doesn't like Paige. He is so mysterious. Like, we don't know anything about him. Who is he? What is a ref? Like, I don't know. And then when you reread it, he, like, he just is so kind. I know it doesn't seem that way. He doesn't seem kind. But, like, he is very considerate of her, and he does so many things that she just, like, doesn't understand. Like, she thinks that he's like playing her, and she thinks that he's like evil and he doesn't care about humans, and it's like there's so much backstory. And on top of that, like, he does care about her as a person, that I just, every time I think about it, it makes me crazy. I will say the one thing that I'm struggling with the most at the moment is that I do not remember anything at all. It's like I have these flashes where I'm like, wait a minute, I vaguely remember this plot point. I vaguely remember this person. I vaguely remember that this leads to this. But like, it's been 4 years and I had only read the series twice before that. And so I really am a little bit lost. Like, I know what's happening. I know what's happening. But I keep, like, seeing people come onto the page, and I'm like, okay, this guy 12, who is an oracle, who's named David, like, I'm pretty sure he's that guy Cade. So I did have to Google that, but he is Cade. And so now I'm, like, I'm hyper aware of everything that's happening at all times, because I'm like, this could be foreshadowing. This could be important. I think I said in one of my other things that I was really conscious of how often Paige worries about waterboarding, and that's depressing as hell. I love Warden. I love Warden. I love him so much. He is just one of my favorite, I don't want to say book boyfriends because that's so 2013, but like, he is truly one of the best book boyfriends. He's just so interesting. I just have so many questions about him. And I think what's even funnier is that for most of this book, Paige spends the whole time just being like, man, this motherfucker, I hate this guy. He's so mean. He's so evil. He wants me dead. There's one section where she's talking to, I think it's when she's talking to Duckett, trying to get information about the green pill, that he's like, he's pretty good looking, huh? And she's like, what? And it's really funny on 2 counts. Number one, because she's like, why the fuck would I think that this alien guy is attractive? Like, why is that relevant right now? But on the other hand, she is a demi person, and so her demisexuality really came through, that she's like, who fucking cares if he looks good? Like, what are you talking about? Like, okay, Neil Justin. The other thing that I have been thinking about pretty much relentlessly for this whole read is Paige's stupidity. I know that's like a common theme, and it doesn't get better. She is one of the dumbest protagonists in all of literature, and I respect her for that. But like, I just realized recently that like most of my favorite protagonists and like main characters in series are dumb. They have their smart moments and they think a lot, but at the end of the day, they are dumb. Like I think she shares a lot in common with Fitz from Realm of the Elderlings. No brain cells. Neil Justin, no brain cells. Kieran Damon from A Chorus of Dragons, no brain cells. Like, every time she'll do something or say something, and Warden just kind of has to sit with that and be like, this is the one that I picked. This is the one that I had to have. And I think that's kind of the running theme between all of those characters that I just said, that like their significant other and their friends and their family, all of them are just like, you gotta be kidding me. But Paige is a very special breed because she is very like, she's very kind. She's very caring. She wants to help everybody all the time. But at the same time, she really goes about it in the dumbest way possible, that she will run her mouth without thinking. And she thinks that she is so smart and so strong and so capable. And sometimes she is, but most of the time, she's just stupid. I finally feel like I'm coming home, you know? Oh my God, it's going to be such a crazy ride. I am so nervous about the Dark Mirror.
I'm sorry, what?
I could spend 30 minutes just thinking about what's to come.
No. Oh, please, dear God, no. Oh, please don't do this to me. Oh, please, oh God.
I'm hoping to do some reading tonight. I would ideally like to be done with this by the end of the week, but it is Tuesday, and I have other things to do, so... I was literally just like walking around work all afternoon being like, Paige Warden, Paige Warden, Paige Warden, Paige Warden.
Guys, one of the reasons why I think Paige and Warden is such an exquisite ship is that the reason they all start is that Paige tries to take care of him even though she hates him. It's just so beautiful. I'm literally not strong enough. I'm literally not strong enough to read this. Like, I cannot tell you how crazy I feel. And we are only on book 1. She's about to save his life again. So, thinking many thoughts. The line I am reading says, from the way he was looking at me, I could almost convince myself he cared. He does! And he will! Oh my God. It's gonna take me 10 years to read this because I feel crazy. It's like 8:30 on Tuesday. It's still Tuesday. Basically, Paige just saved Warden's life again, and he was like, all right, I'll owe you a favor. I'll give you a debt. And it's so interesting seeing them interact this early on because obviously they don't like each other, or at least Paige doesn't like Warden, and we don't really know what Warden is thinking. I would love a Warden POV right now. But obviously we know that Warden is like the bestest boy, and so he's like looking out for the humans, and he's one of the scarred ones, and so he originally helped with the rebellion whenever that was, 20 years ago when Jackson was there. And so Paige doesn't know what she doesn't know, and she doesn't think she can trust him, but he's doing his best to help her, even though she doesn't realize it. But also he like doesn't want to get her involved in all of his shit. And so it's just like, it's early stages, but I do love the beginning of their relationship because like it starts from the purest place, which is I'm going to help you because it helps me. It makes me think about Laurent and Damon from Captive Prince. It makes me think about Andrew and Neil. Like, it's the same idea, just different font. I'm gonna do a little bit more reading, but we're at a weird spot in the world tonight, because we are expected to get snow. And in Tennessee, any snow is too much snow. And so I think we're projected to get between 1 and 3 inches. And everybody at work was like, we don't know. We don't know if we're going to come in tomorrow. So I'm like not super optimistic, but like I feel like it could happen that I'm home tomorrow for a snow day. Again, I'm not optimistic.
You know, one of the really funny things about the bone season is that like in any other dystopian world, it's usually America that is fucked. Like America is the problem child and the rest of the world is, you know, like going on as normal. But this might be the only, it's not, but this might be one of the only series where like America is not the problem. Like I can't remember if they're involved at all. I think there are brief mentions of people who have like gone to the United States, who have gone to America for whatever reason. But like Scion as a regime, I think only exists in Europe, or like it's trying to branch out from Europe. And so obviously in the later books we go to, where do we go? Paris. And I think we're going to Italy soon. And I think it's in Scotland, maybe in Storm Rising. Anyway, the point is, I just think it's hilarious that normally when everything goes bad, like it's our fault, like we are the problem. But this time, like it's not us. Like, I mean, it probably is. I could just see like, you know, down in like book 6 or 7 that she's like, let's go to America. Let's see how fucked up they are over there. And it's like, America doesn't even exist. I really am having such a weird time reading the revised version because I have no idea what is new and what is not. And I had this happen when I read the Tor version of the Atlas 6, because it was revised a little bit for that one too. And like, it's fine because I knew what happened, but I feel like the revised part of it is important, and I can't, it's like some of it obviously I know I've read before, but then there are other pieces of it that I'm like, I don't know if this whole thing that she did with Suhail, who, by the way, I do not remember as a character. She just like attacked his dreamscape, and I'm sure this did happen in the original, but I'm just sitting here like, have I read this before? I don't know. You know, I would just like to say once again that Paige Mahoney and Neil Jost are kind of the same person, because I swear to God, every other scene, Paige is like, man, this is what I should do. I should just shut up and do what I'm supposed to and everything will be fine. I'm not gonna do that. And Neil is the same fucking way. He tries so hard and he just has got to run his mouth. I love fiction because it is so ridiculous. Nobody would ever do any of this ever in real life. Like, obviously it's about aliens, but like they're going through all this stuff. I just read the scene where Paige just had her altercation with Suhail, and Warden takes her back and he's like, you gotta stop being stupid for 2 minutes. And she's like, no, I want to be stupid. And he's like, no, stop. So he like feeds her all that food and they like go back and forth, whatever. And he's like, listen, we gotta work on this training thing. I know you're supposedly gonna be murdered, but like we gotta train anyway. And she's like, but I don't want to. And I think the funniest thing is that after all of this, he's like, I have one condition. Like, she doesn't even want to train with him. And he's like, and also here's another thing that I need you to do for me. And she's like, what is it? And he's like, you gotta have dinner with me. What in the Beauty and the Beast ass shit? Because like literally in the real world, when does that happen? When does a nice man, Warden isn't really that nice, but when does a nice man say, and you also have to have dinner with me once a month? I also really liked the hint about the future. It's called Foreshadowing, that's what it's called. There's a hint about Warden's lack of cooking skills, because she eats all that food and she's like, wow,
this was really something, you know? And he's like, don't thank me. I don't know anything about food. Michael did it. So was it good? And she was like, yeah. And he's like, okay. But, oh my God, I'm losing my mind. I'm like 42% through. I know I keep saying this, but like genuinely, Arcturus is one of the best people in all of literature. I love him. I love him so much. And I love Paige too. Genuinely obsessed with them. Power couple. Insane. The feelings. This is what I've been waiting for 4 years. Oh my God. I just read the iconic scene where they go meet Nuala, the deer, and she tries to possess the moth. And it's just, you know what I'm gonna say? Warden. I love that guy. Anyway, I'm gonna go to bed, and maybe if we're lucky, I will wake up and there will be snow tomorrow. Hello, good morning. It's Wednesday, my dudes. I have great news for you, for me, for everybody, really. It's a snow day, which means I don't have to go to work. I don't have to go to work. You know what time it is. The last time we had a snow day, last month, because apparently we just have snow days regularly, I spent most of my weekend watching Heartstopper, and since I only have a day this time, I gotta read. I'm in the middle of too many books at the moment to do anything but read. Plan is to read The Bone Season for most of today. I hit about halfway last night. I think I should be able to girl boss, and if I don't finish it, I can at least like get really close to the end. We might make some progress. I don't know. We'll see. I think I can do some damage today. I just want you all to know, I was gonna be so cool and like boil my milk on the stove, and like, I definitely fucked up. Now I just have milk in my stove. I swear, everything in this series would be so much easier if Paige just trusted Warden, because quite literally he is doing everything he can to help her, and she's like, what if he's lying to me? Girl, I promise you, he's in love with you. Just let it happen. I'm like having more flashbacks to the Hunger Games because I feel like if Warden could watch Paige during the second test, it would be the same thing that Haymitch feels when he watches Katniss in the Hunger Games. Because quite literally, Warden is like, blah, 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 here's all the information. Do not go south. And Paige is like, so I'm gonna go south. Girl, be serious. I swear, Warden puts up with so much shit with that girl. He's so brave. On today's episode of I'm Thinking About the Mask Falling, Paige just finished her second test, and she's talking to Warden, and she's, upset. There's one line that Warden has where it's right after the iconic exists on a level of hell that isn't near mine, and he is like, nope, we made a deal, like you have to have dinner with me tonight, and she's like, fine. Back to that specific line, I do not take oaths lightly. Subjectively, that is just a throwaway line, but like it is so vital in understanding what happens at the end of the mask falling and in the middle objectively, because during the overture he like makes, I don't know if it's during overture or if it's before that, but there is a part in Mask Falling where he like makes some oath that he's like, I would never hurt you, like willingly. That's why it was so devastating to read Evenfall for the first time, because he
Like, he wouldn't break an oath, so why is he breaking the oath, you know? I'm so unprepared. I think we should all kill Samantha Shannon. What the So they're having dinner for the first time. And they just went through the whole song and dance where Warden was like, blah, 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 look, I found the pamphlet. I know you probably work for the White Binder. And Paige was trying to, like, lie. And he's like, nah, I know you're lying. Let me throw it in the fire. And I haven't read this since I read The Mask Falling. But I just need you to know that there is a line in here. There's this. He throws it in the fire and he goes, you have no evidence against me. Now I have none against you. And she stares at him and she says, why? And he says, and he says, an overture to mutual trust. I cannot believe she planted it that early. Every time I read these stupid fucking books, I don't know anything about tarot. We've reached to the point of the momentous tarot card reading that Liz gives to Paige. This is the third time I've read it, and I still, like, it seems obvious, but we all know that it's not. The first card is the Five of Cups. The second card is, for the present, the King of Wands inverted, which definitely I think means Jackson. The future card that she gets is the Devil, and at the time, she thinks that it could be Warden. We know now that it is not Warden, but who is the devil? That is the question. I think it could be Cade. Whatever power that person has over you, you will be able to escape it. So that's good news, I guess. I can't believe we're getting the Dark Mirror next week. I do love that the next card after that is the Lovers. And she's like, I hadn't really expected that. And it's like, yes, girly. Yes. Okay, so then external influences. Death inverted. Death reversed usually means resistance to change. The individual is clinging to the past, fearing transformation, struggling to let go of old patterns. And Liz elaborates and says essentially that death itself will work in different ways. The world will change around you. By delaying the change, you'll prolong your own suffering. So the sixth card points to your hopes and fears, and she gets Eight of Swords. You can stay in one place, trapped and stagnant, or feel the pain of the swords. All paths lead to anguish. So that's great. The seventh is the pivotal card, though, that we don't know. They're in the middle of the card reading, and Liz is about to read the last card, and Paige stops her because she wants to come clean and let her know that Paige works for the White Binder. And then, right before they actually get to the last card, a bunch of red jackets come in to, like, fuck things up. So that is one of, like, the big mysteries of the Bone season. We don't know the last card in Paige's reading, and I have a feeling we are not going to figure it out for a while. There is a possibility it's in the Dark Mirror, but I feel like that's the kind of thing that you wait until the very last book to reveal. But I don't know how she's going to reveal it, because I'm pretty sure Liz doesn't survive. There is one moment in here where one of the red jackets jokingly holds up a card and implies that this is for Paige. And Liz immediately is like, that's not it. That's not the last card. So we know the last card is not a man lying flat on his front, staked to the ground with 10 swords. I don't know what card that is. I don't know anything about tarot. But that is not the last card. It's all a big mystery.
I'm gonna be so honest with you guys. I have been so not reading. Like, I have, but it's the kind of reading where you're like, okay, I'm ready to read, and I'm sitting, and I'm cozy, and I have my book, and my phone is also here. We just got to the part where Paige has become a red shirt, jacket, tunic, red person. So she had that dinner with Nashira where she had to lie her ass off and pretend like she didn't know what was going on with Warden. And she gets back to Maudlin, and Warden is like, okay, what's the verdict? Did you betray me? And she's like, don't worry, man, I'm on your side. I think it's hilarious that people will wait until a book series is complete, especially for, like, really good book series, because, like, if you're reading a 7-book fantasy series, like, sure, waiting 4 to 5 years between releases sucks. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I have been suffering since 2021. It's been like a whole college career, a whole high school career since I have gotten any word
about what's happening with my babies. But like, I feel like when you do that waiting, you just, I don't know, there's some kind of growth that happens that you become more appreciative of the series and the writing and the characters. And like, I think more people should have to wait for books. You know, like, I am learning so much about myself by sitting with the cliffhanger. Just minutes ago, it really hit me that we have more bone season content next week. Like, it happens every couple chapters, but like, it's really hitting me that I get to see. Oh my god. We get a reunion. I swear, if we don't get a reunion, I'll murder somebody. We have to get a reunion, like, right? Yesterday when I was reading, there was a section where Paige was meeting with somebody who was smoking purple aster. And they were talking about the different types of aster because there's different types of aster. And when she was talking, she made some kind of comment about white aster. And I haven't read The Mask Falling in a few years, so I can't remember if that's what happened. I'm pretty sure that white aster is what gets Paige at the very end. There's this one line that I saved because I think it is a key fact for future reference. They were talking about memories and they were like, blah, blah, blah. Like, if you have white aster, like, your memory is gone. Like, it takes your memories, obviously. But the next line after that was something like, yeah, sure, it does that, but they're still in there. They're still back there. Which, like, makes sense, obviously, because, like, Paige and Warden are destined to be together and they wouldn't just, like, take away her memory forever. But, like, it's back there. We're gonna be okay. We're gonna make it through this. It's gonna suck, but we're gonna make it through this. We're gonna make it through, I think. I had to stop because Paige and Warden are finally confessing to each other. Like, that's the title of the chapter, Confessions. But it's after the craziness in London where Paige is out there trying to save her 7 seals, but also she has to pretend like she's on the side of the refs, and it's a hot mess. But she survived. She's fine. Also, Nick and Jackson now know where she is, so that's good, I guess. But this moment actually, she just told him that she's the Pale Dreamer, and so she's like, okay, now I need your, like, who are you? And he's like, okay, well, like, you keep talking about how I don't like my consort. I don't like that I'm a consort of Nashira. And you want to know why that is. And the way he phrases this, he says, perhaps you should ask yourself if I did. And I just immediately third eye opened and I flashed back to the scene in the Sunshine Court when Jeremy is like, man, like, it's like statutory rape. Even if you had asked for it, they shouldn't have said yes. And Jean is like, I didn't ask. As it turns out, these two series are too interconnected and I cannot have 2 new books in both of them on the same week. This is really just too much for me. It's a little after 5 o'clock. I have actually been reading pretty consistently today, for a couple hours at least. I'm like 70% of the way through the bone season, which is more than I expected to happen this week. But we're moving. We are flying. We are getting so close to the end. Yeah, and the end is crazy, but I remember nothing. I feel like I'm losing my mind, and I'm realizing more and more as the days go on that I am so completely and entirely fucked. Because I have to deal with the emotional damage of 2 new releases in like a 1-week span for 2 of my all-time favorite series. I don't think this has happened like ever in my life. This is just too much all at once, actually. I feel like my brain is turning into soup. I cannot keep doing this. Oh my god. I forgot a very important detail. I forgot about the golden fucking cord. I just think people are sleeping on this series. I know people want their like romantasy right now, like whatever. We all like Sarah J. Maas sometimes. I get it. But like this series has everything, but in a much better, more unique way. It's more subtle in a lot of ways because like Paige Warden has like soulmate potential. It has like we are mates. It has I Will Always Find You. It just, oh my God, it makes me so crazy. I forgot about the golden cord. I will always find you. Did you ever think about that? I will always find you. But they're separated right now. Warden just saw Paige's memory of the night that Nick told her that he loved Zeke, which is its own thing. But there is this section, and I don't know if it's been answered in the future yet. Warden says that there's another memory that he saw before she had the Nick memory, and it surged up from the depths of her dreamscape, blah, blah, blah. What memory? Blood. A great deal of it. And she thinks it's the Dublin incursion. And he's like, nah, this blood was all around you, choking you, and she doesn't know what he's talking about. And I don't know what that's referring to.
Hello. Hi. This is Editing Jenna. I finished The Dark Mirror. I read it. That vlog is incoming with the rest of them. I'm editing this, and I have no idea what she's talking about. I have no idea what Samantha Shannon is referencing. No idea. Literally none. And I'm afraid. I'm very afraid, actually. But I do wonder if this has anything to do with any of my theories. You'll get to them. You'll see them. Cade. The poltergeist kin theory. The dark mirror, question mark? I don't know.
Good morning. It's Thursday. And I do have to go to work. I ended up going to get a coffee and a sandwich because I may or may not have eaten dinner last night. That's not true. I did have cereal for dinner. So last night I did not finish the Bone season. After I said I was going to read more, I proceeded to not read anything. We just hit September 1st. So it's the bicentenary. Is that bicentenary? I don't know if that's right, but bicentenary, that's the chapter that I ended on. And I just had all of the feels. I was just thinking ahead to all of the feels, you know? I know she survives, makes it out, etc. But I actually don't remember how it goes. And I do know that there's probably some bad stuff that happens throughout all of that. I genuinely just have no recollection of what happens other than I'm pretty sure there's a kiss involved. But, isn't there always? I'm anticipating that work will be dead today because it is the day after snow day. So it'll probably be a little bit chaotic, but I don't think there's going to be too much going on. But I am thinking about the fact that there's a non-zero chance that tomorrow, Friday night, evening, late, Nora Sagovich could put the new Offer the Game book up.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's the end of Wednesday. I have great news. I finished rereading the Bolt season. I forgot. I knew the end was crazy, but I did kind of forget how crazy it is. I mean, you probably read it, but everything that happened today, they went to the event. It was not great. Paige and Warden snuck away to make out, and then Nashira found them and punished them and separated them and blah, blah, blah. And she was about to kill Paige. Paige possessed her. She possessed a ref, which is crazy. And then, Warden swooped in, and then Jackson showed up with all of the 7 seals, and then they all, fought and made their escape and blah, blah, blah. Now they're separated. It's the end of the book. We're on to book 2. That was a wonderful summary of the end of the book, I think. I did want to close. I have to close this out because I am going to do a separate vlog for each book. So the next vlog obviously will be the Mime Order. But before we get there, I did want to do some final thoughts, gather up the things that have been going around in my brain. Before we go anywhere else, let's talk about the revisions. I could not tell what was added, what was removed. Based on the posts that I've seen, I'm pretty sure Sam said that she did some decent revisions on the writing style. It didn't read all that different to me. There were a couple of scenes that I was like, I remember this scene and I think I remember it differently than it happening. But it's been 4 years since I've read it, so I truly could have been hallucinating, and I didn't really feel like checking in my other copy. In conclusion, I don't know the difference. I didn't notice it, and I think that's a good thing. But depending on who you are, if this is your first introduction or you didn't like the first one very much, so you were trying the reread with the revised, like that could be off-putting, I guess. I did note the only detail that really stuck with me, I was really cognizant of any time they mentioned France or Menard. I don't even know if that's how you say his name. I don't know how to speak French, but Benoit Menard, whatever the fuck his name is. Every time his name was mentioned, I was like, this is a tool that will help us later. In conclusion, I have no idea what she added, but it was good. It was good. So I think maybe it worked out for the best. So since this is my third time reading it, we are awaiting the 5th book in the series. Days away from book 5. We've reached the point in the series where I am looking for clues. This is the best part about long fantasy series if you get in early enough, because you can spend most of this time like dissecting everything. And especially now that I have the ebooks, I can like mark them up and not feel bad about it, and it's easy to find stuff. And so I started on my Notion, I started a running thing that has some clues that I think might help us later. We'll see. I don't know. There's a couple of mysteries that are scattered throughout the books that we are waiting to hear back on. One of them, it has not been shown at all thus far. Sam made a post years ago about how the Bone season is a Pandora's Box retelling. And every time anybody asks her about it, she's like, don't worry, it's not there yet. You're not going to see it until the end, like closer to the end of the series. And so now we've like reached not the end of the series, but we're in the second half. So I think we possibly could start seeing that. But that doesn't mean I don't spend the whole read wondering like how any of this has to do with that. So first mystery I'm thinking about is the tarot reading. So there's that pivotal tarot card reading that Liz does for Paige, and it does have predictors of her future. And because this is a book series, obviously it's very important. Most of it I think has played out. Like the Lover's card obviously is Warden. The King of Wands, is that what it is Jackson. We don't know who the devil is per se. I think it's clear to me that it's Cade. I think it could very easily be Cade, who is also known as David, who is the Oracle number 12. But I don't think we actually have confirmation on that. And we obviously still don't know the final card. The problem is Liz is dead. Liz died. And so I don't know how feasibly we will get her final card in the series, but it's got to be important because it wasn't read, and I know Sam put some heavy emphasis on it. I was reading the scene where Liz dies earlier today, and so I was like hyper aware of it, and I was like, did she whisper something? Did she say something into the ether? I don't know. So I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't even have a guess because I don't know how tarot works. So, oh yes, the main how did I forget? The main mystery. I was reading a lot about this afternoon because it's like a big part of the end of book 1. The amaranth. The flower that blooms. I don't actually know if amaranth is a real flower, but in this world, amaranth is a flower that only blooms in the Neverworld, and so it doesn't exist in our world, but it is a symbol of like the rebellion against the Sargas bloodline, and so it's like a symbol of hope, etc., etc. Obviously, at the end of book 1, it does bloom and it does start glowing, and it's a big deal for all of the refs. They're all freaking out about it. And Nashira goes as far as to try and hide it to make sure that nobody notices it because it's that important. It pretty much happens when Paige and Warden kiss. So like I think it has something to do with the golden cord, which is another thing I could talk about in a minute. I think it has to do with the golden cord. They talk a lot about like Greek myths, which I think is interesting because Pandora's box. They talk about it, and there's this one line that Paige has that says, I wonder if all our stories, tales of deathless gods and giants, might have roots in the netherworld. And so I don't know what that means or if it's relevant, but I just have been reading into every little thing that I can see because I'm like, it has to be here. Mainly because earlier in the story, there is a scene where Paige and Warden are talking about trust, and he makes some kind of comment talking about how this is an overture to mutual trust. And I literally lost my fucking mind because she put this in book 1 in 2013. It wasn't even part of the revised. Like, it was in the original. I looked it up. She had this since 2013, and it didn't get used until The Mask Falling in 2021. And so I don't doubt that the answers are in here. We just don't know what they are. Which brings me to, actually, the next part of the mystery. Another mystery that we have involves Seb. Seb was killed during Paige's first test. He ends up coming back as a poltergeist at the end of the book, and he essentially saves all of them when Paige frees him. But he has a line where he says, there is an old secret that pertains to you, Paige Walker. And she asks him what the secret is, and all he says is, some are for the dead alone. You dance among us, but you live. I see the cords that join you to both flesh and sarks. I see as I never saw with my eyes. So cords plural. I'm assuming it means silver and gold, but like flesh would be her and sarks would be the refs, I think. But there's that secret that we don't know that maybe we'll come to find out. It's also hard because, again, I haven't read this series in 4 years, and so like I'm pretty sure those are all still mysteries, but they would say things and I'd be like, wait a second, I feel like I know the answer to this question. I feel like I know the answer to this. And, like 400 pages later I would get the answer. So there's a high probability that there's just a lot of stuff in the later books that I've already forgotten about. But either way, it's all very, very interesting, very compelling, much to think about. Let's go back to the golden cord, because I was losing I can't believe I forgot about the golden cord. That is on me. I should remember it always. It's the best part of anything. I just am so fascinated by like magical bonds between partners. And I know it's annoying now because in like the bigger romantasy genre, I think it gets abused. I read about a synopsis for a book series the other day that was like, this girl has like 4 or 5 different mates. And I was just sitting there like, this is so unbelievably unnecessary. But, live your poly dreams, I guess. But I think having too many of these series has made like, the mating bond, whatever the fuck that is, like less powerful in some ways. But I just truly think that like Samantha Shannon does it so well. And it really comes into play. It's going to really come into play going forward in the Dark Mirror, because obviously the lovers are separated, so they have to find their way back. Guys, I have been going insane over Paige and Warden. And I did actually realize, I'm pretty sure Paige might be my favorite female character ever, possibly. Maybe I don't mean that, but I do mean that. I really do love Paige Mahoney. She's the best. She's also a dumbass, but we love her anyway. It's fine. Thinking many, many thoughts. So anyway, now that I've done that, I have to keep going. So I have to start reading the Mime Order. I will be vlogging it if you want to watch me lose my mind. It's bad. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope this brought you some kind of joy, even though I'm going through every single emotion in the world at the same time. Okay, bye!